Indeed, one of the most useful insects on the planet for us humans are these bees. Bees that perhaps many of us have put aside a world of their benefits and only pay attention to their painful sting, unaware that bees are among the most lovely insects. And they are. That's why knowing information about these beautiful creatures is not without grace. There are many facts about this amazing insect that many of us do not know. In this part of Namnak, we will introduce you to various facts about bees that you may not have heard about before. So what better way to get to know them? 1. Keeping and breeding honeybees goes back almost 4,500 years. 2. Almost a third of the food we consume is the result of the work of the bee. 3. In the period of 6 to 7 weeks of its life, the worker bee travels a path equal to half the globe. 4. The queen bee can lay 2,500 eggs a day. 5. Each bee only produces about a 12th teaspoon of honey in its lifetime. 6. Honey and coffee stick together. 7. Female bees collect coffee flower nectar. 8. The beehive holds the most amount of honey with the least amount of stickiness. 9. The honeybee is the only insect that can produce food that can be consumed by humans. 10. A honeybee can constantly move between 50 and 100 flowers in one set of its trip, and a worker bee can sit on 2,000 flowers a day. 11. There are 3 types of bees in the hive: queen bee, worker bee, and male bee. The first 2 types are female. 12. To make half a kilo of honey, the bees in a hive must fly 55,000 miles, equal to 88,500 kilometers. 13. The bee does not sleep, but remains motionless at night and stores its energy for the next day's activities. 14. Honey is the only known source of the antioxidant pinosembrin. 15. When a bee is born, it does not know how to make honey, but as it grows older, it learns. 16. Honey is 25 times sweeter than regular sugar. 17. A honeybee can fly at a speed of 25 kilometers per hour. 18. Honey is the only food that contains all the necessary substances for life. 19. Bee stings are used as a treatment for a variety of pains, including arthritis or high blood pressure. 20. The male bee dies after mating with the queen bee, and the queen can store sperm for the rest of her life. 21. A single bee can produce between 60 and 100 hives per year. 22. Romans and ancient Greeks considered honey to be a symbol of love, beauty, and fertility. 23. It should be noted that the colony of honeybees contains a maximum of 60,000 bees. 24. It is interesting to know that some people use honeybees to keep elephants away from agricultural land. 25. When the elephant enters the farmland and disturbs the conditions, the sound of the bee makes it run away, and this is a solution to protect the seeds. 26. The bee is a symbol of immortality because it produces a substance that has many health benefits. 27. In ancient Egypt, people paid their taxes with honey. 28. In ancient Greece, honey was also applied to coins. 29. The wax in honey is found in many products, even in home appliances, cosmetics, and pharmaceuticals. 30. Not all types of bees communicate in the same way. 31. It is interesting to know that honey bees have the most complex symbolic language among animals. 32. The darker the color of the bee, the more antioxidant properties it has. 33. The word honeymoon is derived from an ancient ceremony in which newly married couples would drink honey syrup for some time to increase fertility and feel happy. 34. The worker bee dies after being stung, but this does not happen to the queen bee. 35. The worker bee has a barbed stinger, but the queen bee has a soft stinger that she uses to kill other queens. 36. A worker bee can carry up to 80% of its body weight in flower nectar. 37. For every half kilo of honey that is produced, 4.5 kilos of pollen must be collected. 38. Interestingly, until 1927, there were no honey bees in many countries. 39. A honeybee has approximately 170 olfactory receptors, and its sense of smell is 50 times stronger than that of a dog. 40. Each bee colony has its unique smell, so they can identify each other. 41. The bee does not work in the winter season and wakes up again in the spring season, and when another bee dies, they quickly replace themselves with it. 42. The lifespan of worker bees is between 6 to 8 weeks, and the lifespan of queen bees is between 2 to 3 years. Therefore, the hive will not be empty of honey because they will be replaced quickly. 43. Honeybees have 2 stomachs, one for eating and one for storing nectar. 44. Bees have been around for almost 30 million years. 45. Bees produce 5 different substances, including honey, wax, propolis, pollen, and royal jelly. 46. Newborn bees, by sticking their tongues on moving worker bees, they ask for food. 47. Although bears love honey, they still prefer to eat bee larvae. 48. The cells in the beehive have uses beyond honey storage and are used to store nectar, pollen, and water. 49. A honeybee has 5 eyes, 3 of which are simple and 2 of which are complex. 50. Only female bees sting. 51. All the work is done by the female bees inside the hive. The male bees must mate only with the queen. 52. Honey has antibacterial properties and is used to cover wounds. 53. To live longer, the queen bee eats royal jelly, which is a milk-like substance produced in a special gland in the worker bee's head. 54. Bees can produce wax using a special gland inside their abdomen. 55. Honey is bought and sold by scale and kilo units. 56. 28 grams of honey can provide fuel and energy for a bee to fly around the world. 57. A bee usually travels approximately 3 miles, 4.8 kilometers, from the hive to search for nectar and pollen. 58. Honey consists of 80% sugar and 20% water. 59. In the winter, the worker bee flies only for a brief cleaning. 60. Some worker bees have the task of collecting dead bee carcasses. 61. Bees hate human breath. 62. It is interesting to know that bees were also investigated in scientific studies related to madness and depression. 63. When a bee finds a new task that was previously performed by a younger bee, its brain stops aging. 64. Bees have their diagnostic system and recognize human faces. 65. There are millions of neurons in the brain of the bee, the number of which is equal to 100 billion in the human brain, but bees can recognize faces. 66. Bees use sunlight for orientation and polarize the light on cloudy days. 67. Losing the ability to sting will cause the bee to die. 68. A typical honeybee hive can accommodate 50,000 bees. 69. Communication between honeybees is by releasing a chemical called pheromone. 70. Honeybees are very important for plants because of pollination.